Some games, particularly in the modern era, take their time getting the player into the action, which can put a hamper on the player's enjoyment if they aren't interested in the story. Others take too long to get good, with slow pacing, and if it takes hours to get good, is it really a good game? If those games have left a bad taste in your mouth, look no further than Nier Automata, the most aggressively engaging opening level you will ever play. If you think I'm kidding, check this out. You jump right into a ship from Ikaruga, fighting top down as your teammates get eviscerated. Your ship then turns into a mech, and the game changes to a twin-stick shooter, blasting through dozens of enemies and giving you a melee attack. Next, 2B transforms back into the ship and you're rocketing through a building in a legit Star Fox section. When the camera shifts again, then you're playing Airbusters on Sega Genesis. This breakneck pace is perfect for the opening, and at this point you've been playing for less than 5 minutes. You have now experienced 4 different genres ubiquitous with shmups, and the level is far from being done with surprises. The ship then flips back to twin-stick Geometry Wars, then opens the wings for another short section behind the ship, and guess what? Bam!
Activating short-range attack gear.
You kamikaze into a wall, and you're playing a third-person hack-and-slash game reminiscent of Devil May Cry on foot. You have a sword, combos, a gun, and dodges, and all of the same controls as the mech you were flying literally 30 seconds before. After a few minutes of action in this section, the game yet again switches to a 2D platformer perspective as you ascend the structures after you crash. You fight more enemies and are suddenly playing a Contra-like 2D game, obliterating robot bastards from the front and behind. It's not done though, and the perspective changes again to a top-down Zelda-like combat zone. You may be thinking now, okay, almost every action game genre has been covered at this point. There's no more they could possibly do in this game. Wrong, dumbass. Heading outside, your first boss fight rises from the ocean, a hulking transformer made from an oil rig whom you dodge and shoot before climbing to the top of the boss in a Shadow of the Colossus feeling platformer section. Then back into the mech, where you continue fighting the boss in a Zone of Enders boss fight, then steal one of its arm and beat its ever-loving brains in with its gigantic limb before nuking 3 more of these same transformers.
Oh, great.
Requesting destruction of enemy hostiles via black box reaction. It was an honor to fight with you. Truly.
The honor was mine.
In under an hour, you have experienced what seems like 20 games in a fast-paced, frenetic third-person action-adventure where you were probably unaware that there would be such an insane array of dynamic gameplay swaps because trailers barely even show it. The developers use perspective shifts and ever-changing combat scenarios to mix up the action, giving the player a ton of tools and options to fight right from the start, and throwing them right into combat with no slog at the start of the game. By the time you finish this mission, you have learned all of the controls, you have been introduced to multiple characters, you see what types of enemies you are dealing with, and have fought multiple bosses without even spending an hour with the game. Nier brings the heat right away. And let's not discount the gorgeous soundtrack that swells with the action, great voice acting that brings the story and introduces the characters without spewing exposition, and the visuals that bring it all home from the animations to the scale of the humongous bosses. This is how you start a game.
I often think about the god who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle, and wonder if we'll ever have the chance to kill him.
Are there any other games that blew you away with introductions like this one did for me? If there are, let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.